it's so important to have at least one friend in every single one of your classes. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how you can make friends in your online classes. Obviously, it's a lot different than taking class in person. When you have classes in person, you get to see people face to face and build connections that way. But online it can be way more difficult since you don't have that opportunity to talk to people as much. So whether you're in high school or university and now you're starting new classes, you might not have anybody that you know in those classes yet, so it can be kind of difficult to find friends. I'll be going through the 3 things that I used when I took online classes to kind of build bonds and create friendships with people that were in those classes. And also I'll be going through the reasons why it's so important to have at least one friend in every single one of your classes. So the first reason why it's so important to make sure you have a friend or friends in every single one of your classes is because of assignments. So obviously in your classes, you're going to have assignments at some point throughout the semester, and having a friend or friends in that class is going to be so important to those assignments for a few reasons. The first reason is that if you have questions about the assignment, it's so much easier to ask a friend, somebody you know in the class, than to try and email the prof or the teacher who's probably getting so many emails already from students. And you don't want to be that student that comes off as really annoying to the prof because then they're going to have a bad impression of you. So being able to just ask a friend any questions that you have about the assignment and getting a different perspective on it because they might have read things differently than you, or they might have heard something from somebody else, just having that other perspective and somebody to kind of chime in on the assignment is really going to help you not only understand the assignment better, but do better on the assignment, because you'll be able to make sure that you understand the assignment fully and you'll kind of be able to work together if there's anything that's confusing that comes up or that you're really struggling with. And then on top of that, having friends in your classes gives you the option to get some advice or feedback on your assignments, just in case you're a little bit unsure about something or you just want to see if it makes sense, because sometimes when you're writing something, it makes total sense to you, but from an outside perspective, it makes 0 sense. So having a friend in your class that you'll be able to lean on for kind of advice and proofreading is going to become so beneficial to you when you have assignments. So trust me, you're going to want to have a friend in every single one of your classes to make sure that you have that person that you can go to if you ever need help. The next reason why it's so important to have a friend in every single one of your classes is because of your notes. So obviously when you're in class, you're going to be taking notes, and then when you have readings, you'll be taking notes of those as well. So having a friend in your class is going to be so helpful for if you miss a class because you're sick or you just can't go, because then you can just ask them for the notes and you don't have to be scrambling, wondering what happened in the class if you missed anything. They can sort of just fill you in on that. And even if you are in the class and you look away for a second or you get distracted and you miss something that the prof says, at least you know you'll have somebody that you can ask for what you might have missed and you can kind of fill in your notes that way. I just know that particularly when I was in university, there were some very petty people who would not share their notes. And if you miss a day, if you're sick or for another reason and you're trying to ask people for their notes, it's kind of a game of chance. You don't really know if they're going to give you your notes. You don't know if you're going to find somebody who makes quality notes that you can actually get notes from. And the person that might make really good notes might be really petty about it and not want to give you their notes. So by having a friend or multiple friends in the class, you know you can depend on them rather than trying to ask somebody you've never really talked to in the class for notes, because it can be a little bit awkward, and again, they might say no, which can end up leaving you without notes for that class, which is going to suck come exam time. So just make sure that you have friends so that you guys can help each other out whenever either one of you misses a class. The third and final reason why you need to have a friend in every single one of your classes is really just because of friendship. You are gonna go insane in your classes if you do not have any friends, especially in online classes. It can be super lonely just sitting there on your bed or your desk or wherever it is in your room and just doing those classes online. You can kind of feel disconnected from the class itself, because if you don't really know anybody, you don't have anybody to talk to, then you might go crazy. So I suggest just having a friend in every single one of your classes just for pure sanity and just to be able to get through the class, and just having somebody to confide in and just make class more fun is just a really good way to make it through your classes without going crazy. So now that we've gotten through the reasons why you should have friends in all of your classes, I'll be going through the 3 tips that you can use right now to help you make friends in your online classes. So like I said before, online classes are a little bit different than in person. You kind of have to use different strategies to make friends. So the first tip that I think really helps with making friends in your online classes is to start with a question. So what do I mean by start with a question? When you've been in class for a week or a few weeks now and you kind of haven't really had the opportunity to make any friends yet and you don't really know what to do, the best thing that you can do is to kind of go through your Zoom call, I guess, or whichever platform you're using, and kind of see from a first impression who you really think that you would click with. And then from there, I would message that person a question. So this can be anything about the assignment, readings, class, anything. Just ask them a question related to class to kind of just break the ice and get a conversation going, because it can kind of be intimidating to just start off by talking to somebody if you don't really know them. So by asking a question, it seems like you're actually contacting them for a purpose. And then from there, you can kind of go into more conversation about other things outside of class, or just kind of get a conversation going and get to know each other a little bit better. And then when they have a question, they'll probably come to you since they've kind of developed a little bit of a connection with you now, and there's a sense of comfortability there now that you've already had an initial conversation where you're talking about class or an assignment or something else related to class. So that will really help you get to know somebody in a very simple and non-awkward way. And I think it's a really great way to just start a friendship, and from there things will just kind of take its course and the friendship will kind of develop naturally. The next thing that will really help you make friends in your online classes is to join or create group chats. Usually on Facebook and Instagram, there are group chats for your classes that somebody created because just like you, they want to make friends, they want to get to know people in their classes. So depending on which university you're going to, you'll have a specific page for class of 2024 for your university. Usually they're on Facebook, but a lot of times they're on Instagram too, so you can check either platform. And from there, you'll be able to make a post or comment on a post asking if there is a group chat, and usually people respond, and then they can add you to the group chat for that class. So that way you're already getting a conversation going with some people in your class, and it's a lot easier to talk to multiple people than maybe one. It could seem a little bit more intimidating when it's just one. So by having a group of people that you can talk to from the class, you can kind of build a connection with them and start getting more comfortable with people in your class. And from there, again, just naturally, everything will kind of take its course and you'll start to click with different people and make some really good friends. And then the last and final tip that I'll give you guys to help you make friends in your online classes is to use group projects. So group projects are a great way to make friends in your online classes because you already have to talk to each other for the project. So it's not like you're starting a new conversation or trying to get something going. There's already a conversation that has to be started there because you have to work on the project. So this is a great opportunity for you to get to know people and start creating those connections. And if the project's going really well and you guys are on top of everything, then you can even get the ball rolling on talking about things outside of the group project just to create that connection outside of class and outside of the project itself, just so you're building more of a friendship and connection that way. And another great thing that you can do here is when you're in a group project, sometimes there's 3-4 other people. If there's somebody that you think you click really well with in that group, now you can use tip 1 that I previously mentioned to message that person outside of the group, and again, start with a question and go through that whole process again. And that way you'll be able to talk to the person outside of the project, and you'll be able to still have that friendship for when the group project ends and for the rest of the class. So group projects are just really a great way to meet people in your class and get to know them and just kind of build those connections without having to try and come up with a reason why you're messaging somebody. So those were the 3 tips that I used when I took online classes to make friends and build connections with different people in my class. They worked really well for me, so hopefully they work for you guys too. And if you have any questions about some of the tips I mentioned or anything else school related, make sure to comment that down below and I'll make sure to respond to you guys. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out my other video on the tips that you can use to stay organized in your online classes. Obviously, online classes are kind of new to everybody at this point, so I give some really great tips in that video on how you can stay organized and on top of all your assignments, readings, classes in general. So if you're looking for some more tips, make sure to check that out too. And before I go, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and the notification bell, and subscribe for more videos on school and life advice. See you guys next time. Bye.